If you're a man over 60, there's a very real possibility that something you do every single day is slowly enlarging your prostate, and you have no idea it's happening. I'm talking about ordinary habits, things you consider harmless, that are quietly creating pressure, inflammation, and hormonal imbalances that can lead to years of discomfort, disrupted sleep, and even intimacy issues. The worst part? No one's warning you about it until it's too late. I'm Dr. Rena, a men's health and prostate specialist with over 30 years of experience. I've helped thousands of older men regain control of their bodies, their confidence, and their peace of mind without relying on endless medications or painful procedures. And I'm here today because I've seen too many good men suffer in silence. It's time to speak plainly, and it's time to speak now. Because what if I told you that 4 common daily habits you probably believe are totally normal, are actually working against your prostate health? Habits that silently irritate your pelvic region, disrupt your hormone levels, and push your bladder to the point where your prostate can't help but swell? It's happening more than you think. In this video, I'll walk you through each of these habits, and more importantly, how to reverse them naturally and safely. You'll learn simple, powerful changes that can reduce inflammation, restore proper function, and help you feel like yourself again. And I want you to pay close attention because habit number 2 is the one I see nearly every man over 60 doing every day, and it's damaging their prostate far more than they realize. Before we get started, if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss important health advice tailored specifically for men over 60. And if you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create better, more meaningful content for you. All right, let's get into it, starting with the very first habit that could be silently enlarging your prostate. It's something so common, so routine, that most men don't give it a second thought. But over time, it puts constant pressure on your pelvic area and reduces blood flow where it matters most. Let's break it down. Habit 1, sitting too long without moving. For many older men, sitting has become a way of life. Whether it's watching television, reading the paper, working at a desk, or just resting in a favorite chair. But what most don't realize is that extended periods of sitting, especially without regular movement, can have a direct and damaging effect on the prostate. When you sit for too long, you're placing steady pressure on your pelvic area. Over time, this pressure reduces healthy blood flow to the lower body, particularly to the prostate, which relies on proper circulation to stay nourished, oxygenated, and functioning at its best. This restricted blood flow does more than just cause discomfort. It begins to create chronic inflammation in the prostate region. Inflammation is a silent contributor to prostate enlargement, and the longer it lingers, the more damage it can cause. Sitting too much also weakens the pelvic floor muscles. These are the muscles responsible for supporting the bladder and helping with proper urination. When they become inactive and weak, they make it more difficult to fully empty the bladder, causing urine to remain behind. That leftover urine puts extra pressure on the bladder, further irritating the prostate and worsening symptoms like urgency, dribbling, and frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom. I've treated countless men who were struggling with these issues, only to discover that the primary cause wasn't a disease. It was a lifestyle of stillness. The body was built to move, and when we deprive it of regular motion, every system, including the prostate, begins to suffer. The good news is the solution is simple and doesn't require a gym or a complicated routine. Just standing up every 30 to 45 minutes, walking around the room, stretching, or doing light movements can relieve pressure, restore circulation, and support a healthier prostate over time. Even a short walk after meals or a slow pace around the house can make a meaningful difference. The key is consistency. You don't have to change everything overnight, but taking intentional steps each day to move more can dramatically reduce the risk of long-term prostate issues. Most importantly, it empowers you to take back control of your health in a natural, sustainable way. I always remind my patients, your prostate responds to your lifestyle. The more you support it, the more it supports you. Now, if sitting for too long can silently harm your prostate, just imagine what happens when you ignore one of your body's most basic signals. Something nearly every man over 60 brushes aside until it's too late. The next habit may seem harmless, even logical, but it's quietly putting your prostate under enormous stress every single day. Let's talk about it. If you're still watching and these insights are making a difference for you, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments so I know you're here and taking this to heart. Now, let's keep going and take a closer look at the second habit that could be quietly harming your prostate. Habit 2, holding in your urine. It might seem like no big deal, waiting just a little longer to use the bathroom, finishing that conversation, that drive, or that TV show before getting up. But holding in your urine is one of the most overlooked habits silently damaging the prostate, especially in men over 60. When you consistently delay urination, your bladder begins to stretch beyond its healthy limit. Over time, this stretching creates pressure that's transferred directly to the prostate, which sits just beneath the bladder. That pressure doesn't just cause temporary discomfort, it slowly leads to irritation, swelling, and inflammation in the prostate tissue. The prostate is incredibly sensitive to changes in urinary behavior. When the bladder is under a stress, it struggles to empty fully. And when urine is left behind, it creates a stagnant environment that's perfect for bacteria to grow. Infections, inflammation, and urinary tract issues become more common. As these problems build up, the prostate becomes more reactive, inflamed, and enlarged. What's worse, holding in urine can confuse your body's natural signals. The urge to urinate becomes harder to interpret. This can lead to more frequent bathroom visits, nighttime disruptions, and a frustrating sense of urgency that affects every part of daily life, from sleep to social confidence. In older men, the muscles that control the bladder and support the pelvic floor naturally weaken with age. That means the consequences of holding it in become more severe, more quickly. I've had patients tell me they thought they were doing something good by training their bladder to wait. But in reality, they were training their prostate to stay irritated. It's a habit rooted in convenience, but the long-term price is far from convenient. The solution is simple. Listen to your body. Go when you feel the urge. Don't wait until it's urgent. And don't limit water intake just to avoid using the restroom. Dehydration makes urine more concentrated, which can further irritate the bladder and prostate. Instead, sip water throughout the day and give your body permission to do what it was designed to do. Release waste naturally and without stress. This one shift can significantly reduce pressure on the prostate and help restore comfort, function, and peace of mind. Ignoring the body's signals may seem harmless, but it sends a message of stress to every system involved in urination. Over time, that stress builds, and the prostate responds with swelling and resistance. But when you act in harmony with your body, you create space for healing. And that's where real change begins. But what if the real danger isn't in what you're doing, but in what you're eating? Coming up next is a habit rooted in diet, comfort, and routine. It's filling your plate and quietly feeding inflammation deep inside your prostate. Most men overlook it, but once you hear this, you'll never look at your meals the same way again. Let's dive in. Habit 3, eating too much processed and red meat. For many men, red meat is a staple. It's on the grill during family barbecues, in sandwiches at lunch, and often the centerpiece of dinner. And while enjoying a good steak now and then isn't the problem, eating red and processed meat frequently can have long-term effects on your prostate that most men simply don't realize. The link between diet and prostate health is strong, and the wrong kinds of foods, especially those high in saturated fat, preservatives, and additives, can quietly inflame your body from the inside out. And when it comes to your prostate, chronic inflammation is the fuel behind swelling, discomfort, and dysfunction. Red meats like beef, pork, and lamb, and especially processed varieties like bacon, sausages, and deli slices, are loaded with compounds that can raise your body's level of oxidative stress. These compounds trigger inflammation at a cellular level, and over time, this contributes to the slow enlargement of the prostate. As men age, their metabolism slows, their digestive efficiency decreases, and the body's ability to eliminate waste and toxins weakens. That means what you put on your plate matters more than ever. When your digestive system struggles to break down these heavier foods, it leads to bloating, internal pressure, and ultimately, irritation of the pelvic region. And once again, the prostate pays the price. But it's not just about the inflammation. Red and processed meats can also throw off your hormone balance. These foods are often high in animal-based saturated fats, which have been shown to lower healthy testosterone levels and elevate estrogen. That hormonal imbalance is a major contributor to prostate enlargement. Your body relies on a delicate balance of hormones to regulate the size and function of the prostate. When that balance is off, the gland begins to swell, slowly and silently. Thankfully, you don't have to give up meat entirely. What I recommend to my patients is moderation. Aim for red meat once or twice a week at most, and fill the rest of your meals with lean proteins like fish, skinless poultry, or plant-based sources like beans and lentils. Add in anti-inflammatory foods, leafy greens, berries, tomatoes, olive oil, and make sure you're getting enough fiber to support healthy digestion and hormone clearance. These foods don't just support your prostate, they also help you maintain a healthy weight, stabilize your energy, and feel better overall. Your fork is one of your most powerful tools for long-term health. Every meal is a chance to either support or stress your prostate. The choice is yours, and small, consistent shifts can change everything. But even with the cleanest diet, there's one factor that can silently undo all your progress. It doesn't show up on your plate, but it's present in your body every single day. It's invisible, powerful, and most men don't even realize how much damage it's doing to their prostate. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover. If you're still with me and finding this information valuable, type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're here and engaged. Now let's continue with the 4th habit that may be quietly impacting your prostate health. Habit 4, living with constant, unmanaged stress. Most men don't connect their stress levels with their prostate health. After all, stress seems like something that lives in the mind. Tight shoulders, restless nights, maybe a little worry about bills or family. But what most don't realize is that chronic unmanaged stress is one of the most powerful and destructive forces behind prostate inflammation. It's silent, it's constant, and it's often ignored until the symptoms become too loud to ignore. When you live with ongoing tension, whether it's about your health, your finances, your loved ones, or simply the uncertainty of aging, your body responds by releasing stress hormones, especially cortisol. Over time, elevated cortisol wreaks havoc on your system. It disrupts your hormonal balance, weakens your immune response, and triggers inflammation throughout the body. And your prostate, being highly sensitive to hormonal and inflammatory shifts, suffers directly as a result. But it doesn't stop there. Stress tightens the muscles in your pelvic floor, a ring of muscles that supports your bladder and prostate. This constant tension restricts blood flow, compresses nerves, and further irritates the prostate gland. The result is more urgency, more frequent nighttime urination, and more discomfort. It becomes a vicious cycle. Stress causes symptoms, and the symptoms cause even more stress. I've seen men who were doing everything else right, eating clean, moving daily, drinking plenty of water, but they were still struggling. The common thread was emotional strain. Sometimes it was obvious, like the recent loss of a spouse or mounting medical bills. Other times it was quieter, a deep, unspoken fear of losing independence, of not being the man they once were. And yet, as soon as they began managing their stress, through daily movement, breathing exercises, prayer, meditation, or simply reconnecting with people who matter, their symptoms began to ease. Their bodies responded. Because here's the truth, your mind and body are not separate. What you feel emotionally, your body feels physically, and the prostate is no exception. Ignoring your emotional well-being is like turning your back on one of the most important pieces of your health puzzle. But the good news is, you're not powerless. You can shift this. You can build new habits that calm your nervous system, ease muscle tension, balance your hormones, and give your prostate the space it needs to heal. And you don't need to move mountains to get there. You just need to start. And that brings us to the most important part of this entire message. What you can do, starting today, to take back control. Because the real power isn't in what's been done. It's in what you choose to do now. So let's talk about the steps you can take right now to protect your prostate and reclaim your quality of life, starting today. 5. What you need to do, starting today. Now that you understand the daily habits that may be quietly enlarging your prostate, the most important question becomes, what are you going to do about it? The truth is, real change doesn't come from fear, it comes from action. And the good news is, these aren't impossible changes. You don't need a prescription, you don't need a complicated diet plan. What you need is a decision to take control of your health one small step at a time, starting today. Begin by making movement a natural part of your day. Set a reminder to stand up and walk for a minute every half hour. Stretch your legs, roll your hips, move your body, especially if you spend long hours sitting. It may not feel like much, but it's the consistency that makes the difference. Your prostate responds to blood flow, and blood flow responds to motion. Next, stop waiting to use the bathroom. If your body says it's time, go. Don't ignore the urge, and don't train yourself to hold it longer than you should. This isn't about discipline, it's about listening. And as you do, stay hydrated. Sip water throughout the day and aim for urine that's pale yellow. That's a sign your bladder and prostate are working in balance, not under stress. Take a look at what's on your plate. Try to reduce red and processed meats to once or twice a week. Replace them with fish, lean chicken, lentils, or even just a hearty vegetable stew. Add in greens, berries, nuts, and healthy oils like olive oil. These aren't trendy foods, they're time-tested sources of nourishment that naturally reduce inflammation and support hormone balance. And don't overlook your stress. Even if life feels overwhelming, give yourself 10 minutes a day to breathe, walk, pray, or sit quietly without distraction. Turn off the news, put your phone down, be still in a different way, one that restores you instead of draining you. You don't have to fix everything today. You just have to begin, and when you do, your body will follow. If it helps, try using a health journal or a simple app to track your progress, what you're eating, how much water you're drinking, your bathroom habits, your mood. The more awareness you have, the more power you gain. Because healing doesn't come from luck, it comes from patterns, and you have the power to build new ones, starting now. These small changes are not just good for your prostate, they're good for your energy, your sleep, your confidence, and your peace of mind. And they can open the door to something even greater, because what happens when you finally stop surviving and start thriving again? That's exactly what we'll talk about next. Stay with me. Conclusion. By now, you've learned the truth about 4 everyday habits that can silently enlarge your prostate. Sitting too long, holding in your urine, eating too much processed and red meat, and living with constant, unmanaged stress. These may seem like small things, but over time, they add up. They create pressure, inflammation, and imbalance inside your body. And if left unchecked, they can take a serious toll on your comfort, confidence, and quality of life. But here's what I need you to remember. It's not too late. Your body is always listening. It's waiting for you to choose differently. Every small step you take, whether it's standing up more, responding to your body's signals, changing what's on your plate, or learning to breathe through stress, sends a powerful message. It tells your body, I'm ready to heal. And when you make that choice, even just once a day, your body will meet you there. It will start to recover. It will begin to work with you again instead of against you. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s turn things around. I've seen men go from sleepless nights and frustrating bathroom trips to peaceful rest and better control. Not because they found a magic pill, but because they made a few real, lasting changes. And they did it by starting small. That's all I'm asking of you. You've made it this far for a reason. You're not here by accident. You're seeking answers, and that means you're already ahead of the curve. Now is the time to act, not with fear, but with strength, clarity, and commitment to yourself. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to accept this as just a normal part of aging. Because it's not. You deserve better. You deserve comfort, confidence, and the freedom to enjoy the years ahead. So take what you've learned today and put it into motion. Your prostate is only one part of the picture, but caring for it can change everything. Your next chapter is waiting. Let it be one of strength, health, and peace. You've earned that, and so much more.